Okay, the next two problems on our list are M33 and M35. We're going to do them together because they kind of work hand in hand. One builds upon the other. So M33 asks us, identify the accrual basis expenses in each of the following transactions or events. So on E, it says bills paid $1,500 to plumbers for repairing a broken pipe in the restrooms. And what the requirements want to know is whether or not an expense, an accrual basis expense, should be recorded. In this instance, because Bill paid the plumbers to repair a broken pipe, and because those plumbers repaired the broken pipe, then yes, we are recording an expense on an accrual basis accounting, okay? The expense account that we would use will be a repair and maintenance, and I'm going to abbreviate that R and M expense, repair and maintenance expense, okay? Because we're repairing something, repairing a broken pipe here, okay? And then if we were to record this on an accrual basis of accounting, the actual journal entry, which is the requirement of M35, is to debit repair and maintenance expense account and then credit cash because we paid them. And the amount that they give us here would be 1.5 or 1,500, okay? The next one on F, it says bills paid $2,000 for June electricity bill and received the July bill for $2,500, which will be paid in August. Okay, one thing to note is, in this problem, we're talking about the month of July. Okay, so that's the month that we're actually working with here. It tells us that we paid $2,000 for the June electricity bill. Well, in the June electricity, okay, when the June electricity bill came, the journal entry that we would have made would be to have debited utility expense and credited accounts payable, right? That would have been the journal entry that we would have made in June, right? So when July comes and we're now paying that bill, okay, we're going to debit, I'm going to write this over here because that's part of our requirement here, debit accounts payable to reduce it. Here we increased accounts payable. Now we're going to decrease accounts payable and we're going to credit cash because we're paying it. Okay, the amount they give us was $2,000 for the June bill. So we'll put 2 here, 2 here. Okay, and that's not all that was included in this portion of the problem. It says, and we also received the July bill for $2,500, which will be paid in August. So since we're dealing with the month of July and we've been using this utility, we've been using the electricity during the month of July, then we're going to make the same journal entry over here that we did for June as well. Okay, so we can go over here and debit utilities expense, credit accounts payable, and it tells us that the amount was $2,500. And then obviously, since we're incurring an expense, the answer is yes. We did have an expense, it would be utilities expense, okay? Just like the same original journal entry that we made in the month of June. Okay. The last one, it tells us, is bills paid $5,475 to employees for work in July. So the employees worked during the month of July. So yes, we incurred an expense. Because remember, that is the driving force behind whether or not you record an expense. Did you incur it? It is not whether or not you paid cash. That is a cash basis mindset. That's a cash basis way of thinking. We are operating under an accrual basis of accounting. So please, make your mind remember that the driving force of whether or not you record an expense is whether or not you've incurred the expense. Were you provided a service? Were you provided a product? Did you incur an expense? Okay? So yes, the answer is yes, we incurred an expense because we were provided with wages. So we have a wage expense here. Okay? And it tells us that we paid this amount. So we already paid this amount to the employee. So we would debit wage expense here. And it's 5.475, and credit cash because we paid them 5.475. If we had not paid them yet, we could have credited wages payable. Okay, could have credited wages payable. That's the requirements for M33 and M35. Please let me know if you have any questions.